Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, my name is Ulfarima Devi, and in this video I'm going to reflect on chapter 12, Motivation in Learning and Teaching from Educational Psychology by Anita Woolfolk. So instead of just summarizing the chapter, I will also share my own experiences and thoughts and how this knowledge will impact the way I teach in the future. So the first one is brief summary. So in this chapter discusses motivation, a central concept in education that answers the question, why do students do what they do? Woolfolk defines motivation as an internal state that arouses, directs, and sustains behavior. One of the key ideas is the distinction between intrinsic and extrinsic motivation. Intrinsic motivation happens when students are driven by curiosity, interest, and enjoyment in the task itself. And then extrinsic motivation is when they do something to get a reward or avoid punishment. So the chapter also outlined 5 major approaches to motivation. The first one is behavioral. Its main motivation is shaped by external consequences like reward or punishment. And then the second is humanistic. Its main motivation is rooted in a person's desire for self-growth and fulfillment. And next is cognitive. This approach focus on beliefs and expectation like can I do this task and why should I do it. Next is social cognitive. It's combined cognitive aspect while social influences, for example the belief that effort leads to success. And then next is sociocultural. It's emphasis participation and learning communities and how social context shaped motivation. Another important framework is self-determination theory, which says that people are most motivated when 3 needs are met. The first one is competence, it feeling and capable, and then autonomy, having control and choice, and then the last one is relatedness, it's feeling connected to others. There's also discussion of goal orientation such as mastery goal or learning focused, and then versus performance goals or grade focus, and how students' emotional state like anxiety or boredom can help or hinder motivation. And then the second is personal connection. This chapter made me reflect a lot on my own learning journey. As a student, I have experienced both kinds of motivation. One time in high school, I was really excited about a project where we had to make a survey and analyze responses, and I chose a topic I cared about and even made a single Google form. I didn't do it because I wanted to good grade. I just enjoyed the process of collecting real data and drawing conclusion. So looking back, that was a perfect example of intrinsic motivation. I felt competent and I had control over the topic, and I was genuinely curious without realizing it. I was experiences all 3 components of self-determination theory. But in contrast, I also remember preparing for national exam where I stayed up late memorizing things I didn't understand just to avoid failure. So that was pure extrinsic motivation. Honestly, even though I got decent scores, I did not retain much of that information. I was stressed, anxious, and only motivated by fear of disappointing others. So these experiences really helped me understand what this chapter is trying to say. Motivation affects not just whether we learn, but how deeply we learn. It's not enough to get students to complete tasks. They need to find meaning in what they are doing. So as a future teacher, I want to create the kind of classroom where students feel excited to learn, not pressured just to perform. I want them to ask questions, to explore, and then to feel safe to make mistakes. And then next is critical reflection. So reading this chapter also challenged me to think more deeply about my role as a teacher, not just as someone who delivers content, but as someone who shaped motivation. I found the concept of goal orientation particularly important. Sometimes students focus so much on grades and comparison with others, like performance goals, and that they forget to enjoy the learning itself. I have seen this happen in group project where students just divide the work and finish quickly without really learning anything. But students with mastery goals, those who want to understand and grow, are more likely to preserve and take ownership of their learning. I also appreciate how the chapter talks about supporting students' autonomy. At first, I thought giving students choices was risky. It could make them unfocused, but actually, when we trust students to make decisions and give them some control over how they learn, their motivation increases. Of course, we need to give structure and guidance too, but autonomy does not mean letting go, it means partnering with students. One concept I struggled with at first was the idea of integrated regulation, which is technically a form of extrinsic motivation, but it is not internalized and becomes part of a student's identity or value system. For example, students might study hard because they value being a responsible person, not just for a reward. This helped me realize that not all extrinsic motivation is bad. It depends on how students interpret and internalize it. So if I conduct classroom research one day, for example, to action research, I will make sure that to measure not only outcomes like test scores, but also how students feel about their learning, what drives them, what challenges them, and how I can support their growth in meaningful ways. And then next is takeaways. So what are my biggest takeaways from these chapters? The first is motivation is not something we can give to students, but we can design learning experiences that sparks and sustains it. That means providing meaningful tasks, clear goals, supportive feedback, and opportunities for choice. And then the second is, as a future teacher, I need to focus on building a learning climate where students feel competent, autonomous, and connected. That's the foundation of real, lasting motivation. I believe that when students are truly motivated, they don't just learn, but they also transform. Okay, so I think that's all my reflection today. Thank you so much for watching my reflection. I hope this inspired us to think more deeply about motivation in our teaching or learning journey. Let's continue to create classroom where students love to learn, not just learn to get by. See you in the next video. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.